And welcome to Everything Arsenal. First video of the day. Today I decided I'm going to go out and do some shopping for rice. We had to get some packets of rice. But now we are back, and our first video of the day, a lot to cover, a lot to talk about, including Arsenal's budget. Now, a lot of rival fans, as always, people are already jealous that you're getting signings very, very early. People are not used to this, so people have to complain. So we'll talk about that. I was also a bit worried. I was like, we spent 200 million already. Are we still going to get people like Caicedo? Are we still going to go for this player and that player? Well, we have an answer to that. It looks like we actually do have a lot of money this time around. We'll also talk about Saliba's new contract, Nelson's new contract as well, the latest on Jurrien, the latest on Kai Havertz, the latest on Nwaneri as well, and Nuno Tavares and Tchouaméni from Real Madrid. Is it possible? We actually have the money. Is it possible to tempt Tchouaméni from Real Madrid to Arsenal? Well, we've been able to compete with Man City and Bayern Munich for players. Who knows? We can compete with Real Madrid for players as well. Let me know how you're doing. When is today? Today is Thursday, right? How's your Thursday going? How's your Thursday been? And without wasting any more time, let's get straight into it. So, according to reports from Maguire, no, not Harry Maguire. We cannot take any opinions from him. From the man himself, Kieran Maguire, who is a football finance expert. So he knows a lot to do with the money side and the financial side of football. He was asked, how are Arsenal able to spend all this money this time around? They've never really spent this kind of money. They spent 100 million on Rice, 65 million on Havertz. They're going to spend 40 million on Timber, and they're still linked with other players who are going to cost 50, 60 million. How are they able to spend that money? So according to Kieran Maguire on this topic, he says, okay, let's just quote it from Sky Sports. So football finance expert Kieran Maguire tells Sky Sports News that Arsenal have a wage bill of 150 million to 170 million lower than their direct rivals Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United, which is why they have been able to spend so freely. So according to him, I listened to the interview, and he said back in 2018, Arsenal's wage bill was crazy. We were paying Mesut Ozil a lot of money. A year before that, or 2 years before that, I actually think a year before that, we were paying Alexis Sanchez a lot of money as well. Recently, we've had Aubameyang, Lacazette, Mustafi, Socrates, all those guys on over 100,000 per week. So that was 100% affecting our financial capabilities in terms of signing other players or extending contracts. But right now, we've been able to get rid of all those players, and that is why right now we are able to give players like Saka and Saliba huge contracts. So that means that the management behind the door, behind the scenes, the board and everything, they've managed the team very well. And I actually think many Arsenal fans do not expect to hear that. We thought maybe the board and everything, they're incompetent and everything, they don't know how to spend the money. But it looks like they've actually managed the team very well, to the point of right now, we are able to spend like 300, 400 million without even worrying about FFP, because the wage bill is dropped down quite much because we got rid of a lot of players. Now, that is why I'm looking at it like maybe that is another reason why they want to get rid of the likes of Thomas Partey and Pepe, because of the kind of money they're going to be paid. Maybe if they release Thomas Partey, that will allow them to give that money to Declan Rice. Maybe if they let Pepe go, that will allow them to extend the contracts of Saka and players like Martinelli. Maybe that is one of the reasons why. Kieran Maguire also says Arsenal are in a strong position financially due to having their wage bill under control, which has given them more flexibility in regards to spending, that coupled with UEFA Champions League football. Football finance expert Kieran Maguire says. So for the rival fans and for some of you Arsenal fans who are saying, yeah, doesn't really matter, second place, no one will remember. No one will remember second place. No one has to remember second place. But it's what that second place that we just got, it has changed a lot of things about Arsenal. Even the way we are able to spend in the summer right now, the way we are able to attract players like Declan Rice, it's because we finished second. Yes, you might say we bottled the league, but it was not like they have to take some positives from that. And the positives, maybe not from that exact season, but for the future now. And we've already started basically the fruits of what's the word? I can't get the word. What the hell? We've bought the fruits of the what the hell, man? What the hell? Yes, I've been out all day and I've not been drinking. I promise you, I don't drink. So yeah, we've bought the fruits of our season last season, and we've done pretty well from last season, and we're probably going to spend a lot of money this summer. And that's not the only thing. We are now back in the Champions League, and I'm hearing you're going to get around like 50 million or something, and that is going to help massively in terms of how we are able to buy players. On top of that, the money you're going to get from Thomas Partey, from Kieran Tierney, from all those players that we could sell, Rob Holding and all those players, added to the kind of 200 million that we had to spend this summer, it's going to be a really, really good transfer window. So well done to the board, well done to Arteta. I think Arteta has really brought some stability into our team. You have to give him fair play. I don't think he's the one who controls everything in terms of finance, but we actually gave him a managerial role recently, and he's done quite well in terms of that, in terms of managing the team. And they do as well. I mean, most of you don't like him, but in terms of the kind of team we are right now to the team we are 4 years ago, it's not the same. Now we are able to attract players. Now our finances look like it's really, really good. We are flexible in the transfer market. We are able to get players worth 100 million, 60 million. We are now back in the Champions League. Obviously, the Champions League is going to give us money in terms of tickets, in terms of the money that the Champions League itself is going to give us in terms of broadcasting as well. So we have, it seems like we have a lot of money to spend this transfer window. So he's also asked now, Arsenal already spent 210 million this summer. Can they spend the same, more than that? And said, yes, we can actually spend up to 400 million if possible. If we actually sell those players, we might end up signing 5 or 6 players this transfer window for a lot of money. It's actually possible to get players like Caicedo if you wanted, because our finances are really, really good, and we are not in danger of getting into FFP trouble, financial fair play. So that's something really, really good to hear. This is not the Arsenal that we knew, man. Like 4 years ago, we were like, oh my goodness, Ozil is on a lot of money. Are we going to do this? Can we buy players? In 2015, we bought Petr Cech, the only player we bought in that summer transfer window. On top of that, Arsenal don't usually use a lot of money in January. So all the money that you've been saving all these years, not spending a lot of money in January, just buying Trossard or loaning Denis Suarez or getting Pablo Mari and Cedric in 2020 January, all that money that we've been able to save while Chelsea spending 200 million, 300 million in a January transfer window, that is where now we are going to, we are basically using that money right now. And the Arsenal finances are looking really good. So for me, I was worried myself. I was like, maybe you can't be able to buy Cancelo, maybe you can't be able to buy Caicedo and all these players. But even after spending that 210 million on Timber, Rice, and Havertz, it seems like we could be going for another like 2 expensive players and maybe 1 cheaper one. So things are looking really good for Arsenal, and that is why in terms of institution, we are really good right now, from off the pitch, on the pitch, managerial. Personally, I don't have a problem with anyone at Arsenal right now. I'm okay with the duo. I'm okay with the Arteta. I'm okay with these assistant managers. I'm okay with the captain. I'm okay with the defenders. Just the new signings, and we are going to be good to go. Absolutely good to go. So things are looking happy in terms of finances. What about Fabrizio Romano? Fabrizio Romano, what did he have to say about this one? So he said, what's next for Arsenal? It still looks like there could be other exciting business ahead. Like, is this Arsenal, guys? Like, I'm so excited. It's 2 weeks into the transfer window, and it seems like we could be getting 6, 7 players. Fabrizio says, be excited, just like Josh told us a few years ago. The Jurrien Timber deal has to be finalized, and contacts are ongoing after second bid was submitted on Monday. Romeo Lavia remains on their list for sure. He's also appreciated by Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United, but Arsenal could bid if Thomas Partey leaves. And I don't think that's the end of it. I'm sure they know that our midfield is still short, so I'd not be surprised if we signed Lavia and another midfield on top of that. I personally expect 3 midfielders to come in. I mean, I think he signed Havertz as a midfielder. From what I just said, I think he's not going to be using Havertz a lot as a striker. Maybe Saka and Martinelli's positions, and also as a midfielder most of the times. But on top of that, so if you count Havertz and Rice as midfielders, I think we're still going to sign another 2. So I think we're going to sign 4 midfielders this summer transfer window. And then we have to wait and see. Who knows? We might end up signing a defender. There's been links today as well. We could end up signing a backup striker. We could end up signing a right wing as well. Maybe you could even get a top-notch striker, as some of you want, a 20-25 goal striker. Who knows? It looks like we are not. He basically said we have a leeway in terms of spending money this summer transfer window, and that is something very, very good to hear. So no problem with Arsenal's finances. We can still go for the 80-70 million pound players without worrying about our finances. So Kieran Maguire, this is the first time I'm ever thanking Maguire. Kieran Maguire, thank you very much for that news. And also this point, our wage bill is almost 170 million lower than Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United, like per year. Like if, let's, for example, Chelsea are paying, I'm just going to make up a number. If Chelsea are paying like 200 million per year in terms of wages, Arsenal are paying like 50 million per year. So that is why we're in a very, very good position. And I think most of that work has been done by Edu and Arteta. That is why I'm like, I don't see why people usually abuse Edu and Arteta. All this work, it's not just about signing players. All this work is their work. Because before that, we were nowhere to be found. We're in such a bad position in terms of finances. So in terms of then clearing the players and us crying about why is Aubameyang going, why we're not getting a striker, maybe they actually knew what they were doing. Maybe they knew what they were doing, because if we have that kind of gap in terms of finance or wages from us in Chelsea, Man United, City, and Liverpool, that's why we are able to sign players, and that's why we are able to go for Rice and Man City pull out. That is a very good position to be. We've planned really well, and now we are back in the title race. We are back in the Champions League, and they've decided, you know what, this is where we wanted to come back now. We can spend the money that you've been saving, or the money that we've gotten from the last few years, from the sales, from the small spending in January transfer windows. Things are looking good in terms of that. So let's go to the players now that we can buy and the players that we're giving new contracts to. Tchouaméni has been linked today. As much as I'd like to believe it, I'm not really sure, because not because he can't leave Real Madrid for another team, but because he's a huge, he's part of that Real Madrid project. You know, when Modric and Kroos retire, I think they're really going to be playing Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde, and Bellingham as well. So this is what the reports from today, from transfer.com. Arsenal will test the waters for Real Madrid midfielder Aurélien Tchouaméni if they fail to sign either Caicedo or Lavia. Now, that would be a bang of a signing. Can you imagine Tchouaméni coming from Real Madrid to Arsenal? And he was signed for a lot of money, and he hasn't even stayed at Real Madrid for that long. I think this was his first season at Real Madrid. He's not been there for a long time at all. Arsenal are long-time admirers of the player. However, club president Florentino Perez sees him as the next Casemiro, and will certainly not accept anything less than 100 million they paid AS Monaco last summer. Obviously, I've said, yeah, you can spend a lot of money this time around. You can spend up to 300, 400 million, it looks like, this summer transfer window. But I think we'll still balance it out. We'll still sell some players like the likes of Thomas Partey and get some money back. But if you're able to get a player like Tchouaméni at Arsenal, that is crazy. Like, imagine getting him in Declan Rice as well in the same midfield, and you already have the likes of Odegaard. That would be great. Not because I think we can probably can afford that money, but I mean, Arsenal has surprised us this time round. They've paid 105 million for a single player. So are they going to do it for a second player in the same transfer window? Who knows? We can't say no this time round. Seems like they're very serious this time. This would be an exciting signing, but just because he's really part of their project, I don't think it's going to happen, because if they sell him, how are they going? I mean, they have Bellingham, Camavinga, and Valverde, yes, but I think Tchouaméni is also part of the team. He doesn't really start a lot of Real Madrid games, but now after Modric and Kroos are about to leave, I mean, they have like one year, 2 years to go. By the time they leave, this will be the guy, and alongside Camavinga and Valverde. So let's keep an eye on that one. This will be a very, very superb signing if we can get it through the door. But let's wait and see what happens with that. And let me know what you make of Tchouaméni potentially joining Arsenal. Do you like him? Do you prefer other players? Would you prefer Camavinga instead of him? Camavinga can also play as a left back. So let me know who you'd prefer. They'd not be cheap. Signing Real Madrid players are not cheap. Unless we've got Odegaard for around 30 million. And the last player we got from Real Madrid, Odegaard, absolutely brilliant. So if you can get another player from there, why not? I mean, you don't play for Real Madrid and Man City unless you're a good player. So usually whenever we sign players from those teams, I'm like, get them. Whenever people say, no, Jesus does not really do anything, I'm like, no, he's been playing at Man City for years. He has quality. So any players from Real Madrid, any players from those kind of teams, even Barcelona to some extent, they're usually very good. Players from Bayern Munich, there's a reason they've been there for all those years. What about the ones who are close to joining Arsenal? Well, according to Fabrizio Romano on Jurrien Timber, Arsenal have only one target as new centre-back now, and it's Jurrien Timber. 45 to 48 million bids submitted 3 days ago is being discussed with Ajax. Optimism and confidence remain. Now, according to him, you're only looking at this one defender centre-back. Personally, I have no problem with that. I don't think we need any more midfielders after this, although I've seen a link to another defender from West Ham. West Ham again. I don't want to do business with West Ham again, but we'll talk about that one. But Jurrien Timber, 45 million or something. If you get him, you have Saliba, you have Gabriel, you have Kivior, you have Ben White, Tomiyasu Zinchenko, and you still have Tierney. Unless if Tierney gets sold, then we'll remain with 7 defenders. I think then it's either you bring back Tavares to sit on the bench or you sign another defender. And we have actually been linked to a defender today. I didn't get the tweet, but it's Ben Johnson from from West Ham, and he's a right back. I don't really like him. He hasn't played too many games. He usually plays, I think, as a backup for Kufal, but we've been linked to Ben Johnson of West Ham. But I'm not so sure about dealing with West Ham again, man. I've been stressed about dealing with them. Speaking of dealing with West Ham, they actually want a player from Arsenal. West Ham, how are you, West Ham? West Ham are interested in signing Nuno Tavares, and at the team showing most concrete interest right now. Arsenal have spoken to several other Premier League clubs, and Galatasaray also like the player. West Ham like Nuno Tavares. Let me tell you something, West Ham. Nuno Tavares, he's going to cost you 65 million. And 65 million plus 15 million in add-ons. So we want 80 million. And the 65 million, we want 50 million paid upfront. And the 15 million in terms of, structure and everything, as you like to say at West Ham, we don't want it to be paid across 3 or 4 years. We want it to be paid by next week. If you want Tavares, you want that money to be paid within 1 week. Get us the money for Nuno Tavares, and please have realistic add-ons. Don't tell us about West Ham finishing in the top 10. We know you're not going to finish in the top 10. Give us realistic add-ons and all that, and then we'll give you Nuno Tavares for 65 million. You want any Arsenal players? Even if you want Edin Ketia, 60 million, please. And don't forget the add-ons, West Ham, 10 million in add-ons. Yes, I'm not happy about doing business with West Ham ever again. They really annoyed me this summer transfer window. So if you want any Arsenal players, we're going to have to sell him to you for 65 million plus add-ons. But if any other team wants Nuno Tavares, Galatasaray, and anyone else, Galatasaray, we are going to give you the player for around 20 million or something. If Galatasaray, you want the player, we're going to give you at 20 million. But if it's West Ham, we want 65 million plus add-ons for the player. So that is the latest on Nuno Tavares and West Ham potentially signing him. Well, according to Ben Jacobs on Jurrien Timber, I skipped the Jurrien Timber story. Arsenal feel a deal for Jurrien Timber is getting really close, with the fee expected to be just over 40 million. There is optimism talks can progress quickly. I still think this one will be done this week. This week can be tomorrow, Saturday or Sunday. I don't think you're going to carry with it until next week. In terms of medicals and all that, obviously that will carry to next week. But in terms of completing the deal and agreeing a fee with Ajax, I think it's going to be done this week. And we are going to have our third signing of the transfer window. The Rice, Havertz, and Timber deal, I don't expect them to be to go across this week. They're going to be done this week. We were just really concentrating and focused on the Rice deal, so we kind of put the brakes on the Timber deal. But let's wait and see what happens with that. Let me read a few comments. There's still a lot to go through. You're going to go through Nelson, Saliba, Nwaneri, and other players as well. Let me know what you guys are saying. Bukayo says, now we can strengthen. You have the best name in the world, Bukayo. Now we can strengthen our team with that amount of money. Yes, we can still get like 3 or 4 more players. Exciting times to be Arsenal fans, man. Just so happy for the signing of Rice and Havertz, says Elasu. Diana says, Glenn, I'm very happy with the way my team is recruiting. I'm very happy with it as well. Let's see. Arsenal are going for this summer with them, Tchouaméni. If we actually get him, if it was possible, I mean, the only way I can see it being possible if it's a loan, like the way they gave us Odegaard. But why would they give a player like Tchouaméni on loan? I think is a huge part of their project, to be honest. Unless they feel like Modric and Kroos are enough for this season and they can give him a one year to play in a different country. But I usually don't like loan deals as well. I usually get too attached, and this player becomes very important in your team, and it's not actually your player. It's a done deal, just confirmed. Declan Rice exclusive just now. I'll check that. Let's go for Xavi Simons of PSV. Such a good young player, says Spa. Still linked to him. Let's see what happens with that. See, remember that we bought Ozil from Real Madrid? Yeah, that's another one. As Saspo says, him, Ceballos as well. Odegaard. I mean, Ceballos was okay. I mean, he helped us win an FA Cup, but I think the second season when he came back, he wasn't too good, but he was okay in the first season. Ozil was definitely okay in the first few seasons, 3-4 seasons. He was untouchable. And also Odegaard, less said about him, the better. We know how good he is. Keep searching for hidden news. God bless you. You're going to say Golden. Not sure about hidden news. It's out there, but I don't know how many people have talked about it. It was an interview that was done today. I think the Kroenkes realized this when 200 million only got them 3 players. It's a crazy market. Literally 200 million got us 3 players. Like that kind of money. If that was 2012, That would have gotten us like Van Persie went for like 25 million. So that money could have gotten you like 8 Van Persies in your team. So the market has gone crazy. But then I think also in terms of sponsors and also in terms of TV money, in terms of tickets, I think everything has gone up, which also means player prices have gone up, and the rewards that if you win a Champions League or an FA Cup, everything has gone up. So everything else goes up as well. Let's see. I strongly believe that we must win something this season. I think we are definitely going to win something this season. I'd hate to believe that you're going to finish the whole season without winning something. The kind of team we are building, now we are building a team where we can't just say, okay, let's get eliminated from the Carabao Cup and then just concentrate on the league. No, we'll have players to even play that Carabao Cup. Something, no matter what, we just got to believe, says Gabriel. Big Arsenal in my heart, says Vivian. Arsenal need to try very hard to sign Caicedo and Chiesa of Juventus to back Saka up, says Darlington. People like Chiesa. I mean, I know he was injured for a long time. I don't know if that was just a one-off injury, but he missed a lot of game time for Juventus. He was very good at the Euros for Italy when they won it. I'd like him as well, but I don't know how quickly he'd adapt to English football and also how much he recovered from his injury. Those Juventus players, Pogba, obviously Di Maria when he was there, and the player that you're just talking about, Chiesa, they usually have a lot of injuries. I'm not sure about signing players from Juventus, but I don't. Maybe it was just a one-off injury for Chiesa. Maybe he's 100% fully fit these days. If he is, he's definitely a good player. This is the kind of Arsenal we've been hoping to hear, man, for a lot of years. We've been sitting back watching Man United buying strikers and Chelsea buying 100 million players, and we couldn't do anything about it. Now we are back there. I'm only waiting one player, number 2, because White is not a right back. We need that number to back up Tomiyasu, says Abdul. I mean, I really don't mind Ben White as a right back as well. I do prefer him to play as a centre back, but I still think he played really well as a right back. In terms of people saying Ben White cannot really attack, I mean, yes, he can't attack like Cancelo or Trent Alexander-Arnold, but I think he did well. He still got goals and assists last season, and I still think his crosses were good towards when Ketia was playing, when Xhaka was scoring those goals. I think Ben White assisted a couple. I think he was doing good in terms of going forward. It's not like Trent or something, but it would be good if you can get in the right back, but it's gone quiet in terms of that. Let's see what happens. We are linked to Ben Johnson of West Ham, but you don't really want him. Glory is back and better, says Israel. Mesut Ozil came to us for 3 million. I wonder how much it cost in the current market. Probably more than 100. He was that is the kind of player you're saying assist king. He was an assist king for sure, man. There's a time, like if Giroud was scoring in 2016, Ozil could have had 30 assists that season. Like I think he had like 15 or 16 assists by January. So if you could have kept up the same pace, he could have gotten like 32 assists that season. But Giroud decided not to score for like 20 games in a row that campaign. Ozil was terrific, but later on, obviously, Premier League became too quick. I don't know. Or some people say became lazy. I don't know. Yes, we can spend more than that because there's no chicken players like 20 million in the market anymore, says Kure. We must spend, did you mean cheap players or chicken players? Interesting. I take that chicken with the rice that you're signing. We must spend, well, if you need trophies. I'm very glad to see some big men players in my squad for sure. Kure. I have seen the reasons why Arsenal board can allow Arteta to spend over 300 million on the players he wants in the team. First, Arteta has brought back the cohesion, which was almost lost in the previous years. I think it was gone, man. I think it was definitely gone. Tour. He is also being looked at by other big clubs like PSG to coach their team. Another good point. And if we lose him, it will be very hard to get somebody who can continue this established project. So they will allow to buy the players he accepts to be at Arsenal. I saw someone the other day when Arteta was wanted by PSG. I saw someone saying, that's fine, just take him. And I'm like, really? You just want to be proved right that Arteta is never going to succeed at Arsenal? Like, why would you sit down right now and say, okay, let Arteta go? Like, there's no way. Like, the team we are building right now, we need I actually wanted everyone to stay. Players, manager, board. I wanted everyone to stay for a couple of more seasons. And if they do, I think we're definitely going to win a couple of big titles soon. Maybe as soon as next season. The great hero behind the scenes of Arsenal progressing in transfer market and the guy who brings excitement is none other than Josh Kroenke. The guy told his father the significance of Arteta's project. Looks like it. They usually seem so excited when they're watching the NBA and the NFL over there whenever their teams are winning. He usually is part of it a lot. So let's hope he can bring the same success to Arsenal like he did for Denver Nuggets. Tchouaméni is top class, great impact. Number 6 says Dirty. This time round, Arsenal, yeah, I think you're definitely going to win the transfer window by far. Another striker urgently needed, says Muriel. Now you have the money. If you want to buy the striker, let's do it. No problem. Let's talk about other players in terms of contracts and stuff. So Fabrizio Romano on Saliba, he says official after holidays has reported it's all done and sealed between Saliba and Arsenal. Again, remember, you can buy all the players that you want, but you also have to keep your best players. We don't want to replace, as people usually say, we don't want to replace. We wanted to add to it. So yes, we are not excited that Jacques and Partey are leaving. We wanted to add to our squad, not replace. I don't think we needed to replace players. We just needed to add to it. And players like Saliba staying at Arsenal boosts us as well. So you add the likes of Tim, and then you still keep your better players. He was in the team of the season last campaign. It's not easy to be in the team of the season, man. It's not, especially after he missed like 2 months at the end of the campaign. Really, really exciting. There's a part of me that's that felt like Saliba was never going to play for Arsenal. I have to actually assure you guys, like, be honest. There's a time, like even 1 year ago, I was like, I don't think Saliba will ever play at Arsenal again. I don't think him and Ateta get along. I don't think he's going to fit into the system. Oh, how wrong was I? I'm happy to be right about Declan Rice definitely joining Arsenal, but I was definitely wrong about Saliba. I was like, he's never going to come back to Arsenal. I don't think Ateta likes him. There's a part of me that even said, I'm not sure he's going to fit into our system. I was very wrong. He 100%. What was I thinking? He wanted to fit into our system. He's one of the best defenders in the league. What a defender. So Saliba looks very good in terms of signing contracts, as Fabrizio has confirmed there. All done and sealed. Very, very exciting news again. So he's back from his holidays. And what about Nelson? What's the latest on Reiss Nelson? Arsenal are working hard to wrap up contract talks with Reiss Nelson. Talks over Nelson's future could run beyond June 30th when his current contract expires. But there is optimism that he will stay at Arsenal. Mikel Arteta is understood to have played a key role in negotiations and trying to persuade Nelson to stay, says S.R. Collins. Now, every time I hear about a player joining Arsenal, a player staying at Arsenal, every single journalist usually puts at the bottom that Arteta is understood to play a key role. If it's actually 100% accurate that he's playing a key role in all of these players, you cannot let the man go. Like, how can we start afresh all over again? And then you have Conte for 1 season, and then he goes, and then you get another manager again. Not sure about that one. So this one is also progressing well in terms of keeping Nelson. I think the least he deserves is to stay. I think he helped us a lot whenever he came from the bench last season, and he only came on like 4 or 5 times. And like in like 4 of those games, he had a huge impact, including Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, and also Southampton. I think he did very, very well in all of those games. So Reiss Nelson, I'm happy to keep him in terms of squad depth, especially those Carabao Cup games and games like that. I think he can have a huge impact. He can just start the game. He's one of those players that we have who can actually dribble past a defender. Martinelli can also run past the defender. Saka can do the same. I think Trossard doesn't really prefer like running past a play, prefers to cut in and trickiness and stuff. But in terms of running past players, I think it's Saka, Martinelli, and Nelson. I don't think we have too many. I also don't think Havertz can just like run explosively past a player. Same with Trossard. Jesus can, but mostly Saka, Martinelli, and Nelson. Speaking of players staying at Arsenal, Nwaneri was about to leave, but once again, we are keeping another star boy. Ethan Nwaneri has committed future to Arsenal, according to David Onstein, by signing scholarship terms and agreeing pro deal when he turned 17. Major interest from other clubs, but 16-year-old never wanted to leave. Lifelong Arsenal fan and Islington born and bred. Huge boost for the Gunners. Another player who is staying at Arsenal. No one wants to leave. No one wants to leave Arsenal, and no one wants to leave this process and project. They know that we are approaching the end of the project, and the trophies are finally around the corner, and we're going to start getting those trophies. So Nwaneri, another exciting player. There was talks about him going to Chelsea, and I was like, no, man. Number one, you don't want it to go to a rival like Chelsea. Number two, Chelsea will ruin your career. Chelsea, you go there, they send you on like 7-8 loan spells, and then they bring you back, and then you sit on the bench, and then they sell you for like 1 million to a country that people have never even heard of. So let's see how Nwaneri does. Want to keep an eye on in the future for sure. So Nwaneri is here to stay. What about the latest on Kai Havertz? Now there's been another point on Kai Havertz, basically, according to George Picken. He says Real Madrid worked on the Kai Havertz deal for months and were waiting to see if Chelsea lowered their demands. The player spoke to Arteta and chose Arsenal. Another one that spoke to Arteta and chose Arsenal. What does Arteta tell these people? I'd like all of us to go and have a one-on-one with Arteta and see what he actually tells people, because every time I hear every single player saying I joined because of Arteta. Even if Arteta is not Arsenal manager, we need him in the board or something. The Real Madrid called last minute to ask how much Arsenal were going to pay. Well, too late. Kai Havertz is already an Arsenal player. And according to him, according to reports, he spoke to Arteta and chose Arsenal quite good, because sometimes we might not be ahead of Real Madrid and Man City financially and maybe in terms of trophies and all that. So you have to have a manager and a board that can actually talk to a player and attract them. So to get a player ahead of Real Madrid. So Havertz was wanted by Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and Madrid, Bayern Munich mostly, and he decided to join Arsenal. Rice was wanted by Man City, Bayern Munich as well, Chelsea, Man United, and he also is going to end up joining Arsenal as well. So really exciting times having the board and the manager who can actually do the job. And the reason why this the contracts that you've just extended. Now look at the players' contracts at the moment. Saka's contract is going to run until 2027. Same with Saliba, same with Martinelli, same with Jesus, same with Gabriel Magalhaes. That is 4 years from now. So all of those players are guaranteed at least 4 years at Arsenal. On top of that, Ramsdale and Ben White are running all the way to 2026, and Martin Odegaard is running until 2025, but we are in talks with him to extend that contract. That Odegaard contract is too close. We need to extend that to like 2030. And then now we potentially going to add Reece Nelson to that. You're going to add Nwaneri when he gets to a professional contract. So it's great. You need to keep your best players. Exciting times. And I don't know about the Tomiyasu contract and players like that, but if he comes back next season and remains fit and has a powerful season as well, as we know he can do. I think Tomiyasu is a very good player. It's just because of the injuries that have affected him. But it's good to keep all of those players. Again, another part where Arsenal has changed. So again, why another part where I feel like I don't see why Arsenal fans are saying get at Edu out is the biggest problem. In terms of behind the scenes, in terms of contracts, in terms of bringing down the wage bill, in terms of signing players, I think 85% has been great, if I'm not wrong. And now that they've actually gotten Declan Rice through the door, an expensive player like that, I think they're actually doing a really great job. Back in the day, even just 5 years ago, man, we were struggling. We had Ramsey living on a free, a player who had scored 2 winning FA Cup final goals for us. We were getting Sanchez, best player for like 4 years. He left us on a free. Ozil had to cancel his contract. Mustafi had to cancel his contract. Socrates had to cancel his contract. Mkhitaryan had to cancel his contract as well. Like every single player was living on a free. Aubameyang as well. Like so, right now we're actually doing a great job in terms of potentially getting money. Now let's see how much money we're going to get for our players this time around. Players like Balogun, Partey and Tin, if they go, let's see how much we can actually get for them. And I'm sure they can actually get good money for this kind of players, and Tavares and Lokonga if they're sold. So exciting times to be an Arsenal fan. So let's recap what we've talked about today. Let's start with what Kieran Maguire had to say about Arsenal's finances. He said football finance expert Kieran Maguire tells Sky Sports that Arsenal have a wage bill 150 million to 170 million lower than their direct rivals Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea and Man United, which is why they have been able to spend so freely this summer. Kieran Maguire also said that we have more flexibility in regards to spending, that coupled with the UEFA Champions League football that has also benefited us. So another point of respect to the people who are dealing with our finances, for us to have to be in this position where we can spend this money after not being in the Champions League for 7 years, they've been doing really good. Because when you're not in the Champions League, and there's a time we totally missed out on Europe, you aren't even in the Europa League, for them to actually balance it out like this and not get into trouble with FFP, and we don't even really sell a lot of players for a lot of money. So it has to do something to do with how we spend our money. Maybe the times we are spending 20-25 million, maybe it's actually beneficial for Arsenal, because now we are able to pay that money. So that was according to Kieran Maguire. Good interview on Sky Sports if you want to check it out. Fabrizio also says what's next for Arsenal, it still looks like there could be other exciting business ahead. The Jurrien Timber deal has to be finalized and contracts are ongoing after second bid was submitted on Monday. Romeo Lavia remains on top of that list, but Arsenal could bid if Thomas Partey leaves. Also, in terms of Nuno Tavares, West Ham are linked to Nuno Tavares. West Ham, we want 65 million plus add-ons, please. Reece Nelson is about to sign a new contract. Saliba, new contract done. Nwaneri has decided to join Arsenal. Jurrien Timber, according to Fabrizio Romano, that could be the only centre back that we sign. And also, according to James Jacobs, Ben Jacobs, he says this deal is getting really, really close. I'm expecting it to be done very soon. There's been links to Tchouaméni as much as I feel like it's not possible. Who knows? We have the finances now. And also Kai Havertz, Real Madrid worked on signing him, but he decided to choose Arsenal. A lot, just positivity after positivity. And things are looking good for Arsenal at the moment. Cannot wait to see what more is to come in this transfer window. Wonderful signings, but after Rice, I think I can make more sense to sign Xavi Simons, says Goma. Kudos to Arsenal as we get prepared for the next season, says Mohamed. Let's go for Diaby now, says Wisdom. Let's loan Ketien by Caicedo, says Manzi. Xhaka can go, but let Partey stay, says Flash. We should look for a striker to help Jesus in case of next season. So for Partey, we should keep him for next season, says David. Simons of PSV would be a better replacement for Saka, and Arsenal backup. Let's use the word backup. I don't like the word replacement next to Saka. Saka is not replaceable and still needs another defensive midfielder if Partey leaves, says Ajala. I want Partey and Xhaka to both stay so we can have many players to continue building a strong team, says Benson. That's why I'm also saying maybe they're also looking at the wages, because we've been told that we have such a low wage bill, and that is why we are able to pay players like Saka and Saliba this kind of money that we are paying them right now. So maybe if getting rid of players like Pepe and Partey help in terms of wage bill, maybe there's no way we can get Caicedo if we don't get rid of Partey, not because of the transfer money, but because of the wages. I don't know. We'll hear about it maybe in the next 1 week or something, what is happening with Partey. I believe very strongly we are going to win a trophy, says Thompson. I'd say a top manager, says Tactical. Yes. He definitely has Champions League in his future. I'm 100% sure of that as well. Let's see. Others, a West Ham fan. West Ham fan says, Glenn, stop this. Leave Rice alone. He's scrappy. Don't want him. He's awful. Tom is just talking BS. He knows how good Declan Rice is. Thank you for Declan Rice, and so really, really appreciate it. Hopefully you're doing well. I love the direction which is done by Arsenal, says Michael. I think I said it's the best instead of Tchouaméni. I would take any of them, to be honest, but it's going to be a lot of money to get any of those players. Probably easier to get Caicedo than Tchouaméni, but even for Caicedo, it's going to be so hard to get him. Good evening, Glenn. Arsenal is really doing a good job, but they should keep either Partey or Xhaka, says Sunday. I mean, it could still happen. Who knows? We could end up keeping Partey or Tierney out of nowhere, and I'd be very happy if that happens. Frankie says 2023-24 is season for the Gunners. It's going to be the season for the Gunners. Compare. Emmanuel says compare for me Martinelli and Anthony. Martinelli and who? Who is that? Which team does he play for? Martinelli and who? Who is that? Never heard of him. Never heard of him. Now let's talk about good players, please. We're not going to compare Martinelli with average players. Myself, I want Partey and Xhaka to stay with us this season, says Darlington. I believe Arteta knows pretty well what he is doing, even though he may purchase 10 players at once. This summer will tactically know where, how, and when to deploy them all. I trust the process, says Banda. If you're building a big empire, everyone wants to be part, says Darlington. Good point. If it's true that Arteta had a bigger pull in demand players at Man City and Real Madrid, that's amazing. Or manager, we had to reward him this time round. This time round. Tom says, Glenn, I had a one-on-one that he told me he doesn't really want Declan and is going to stay at West Ham. He wants to upgrade, Tom. He wants to upgrade. Let's see. Romano has just reported that Arsenal and Ajax are into the final stages of negotiations. I left my phone charging. I will definitely check that out and do another video on it. Tell me about Nicolas Pepe, says Alexis. Nicolas Pepe is definitely going to leave. Nicolas Pepe is definitely going to leave for sure. I think now we're basically looking for a team to buy him. I think we're actually struggling to get teams to buy him. That's the problem. We're actually struggling to get teams that can buy him. Is Xhaka leaving? Probably. I think he's going to be gone by pre-season. I don't think he'll be here. We should bring a striker too, says Topham. This is late. Can't wait for next season for sure. Chisanga. That's great to hear that Arsenal now in the serious business. I like that, says Musa. Hope you're well. I'm definitely doing well. How is father life, Tom? Hope it's going well for you too. Thank you, Moka. I really want Tchouaméni at Arsenal. If that happens, man, I'll scream Ismail. If that actually happens, Arsenal has changed. This is not the same Arsenal that we know of. David says consider bringing Victor Osimhen. I'd really love him, one of the best strikers in the world. But I think that one is actually quite impossible because of the kind of money Napoli is going to ask. I actually don't think, apart from Bayern, I don't think anyone is able to get Osimhen this time around. And if Bayern actually get Kane from Tottenham, I don't think Osimhen is going to leave Napoli. I think it's going to be too much money. 150 million, 160 million. I think he's worth almost that, but if you get 160 million for Osimhen, who'll have spent like 1 billion in one transfer window, I think it's a bit impossible. Tom says, thanks for always updating us. Thank you, Tom. Poor Pepe had potential, scored some decent goals as well, to be fair to him. I feel bad for him. He can't even outscore Youngster Balogun in the French league. I was very excited when he signed, but there's a couple of problems with that signing. Arteta did not sign him. He was signed by Emirates, so Arteta wants his own team. Number two, the kind of team that we have, players running back and forth, going and getting the ball, running past players, defending and basically pressing from the front. I don't think Pepe can do that for you. And you cannot start teaching him right now. He's not 21 or 22. He's way older than our other players. He's not that yet. He should be in his prime right now. I think he's 27, 28 or something like that, if I'm not wrong. So that is also hard to teach at this moment. Another reason is this guy cannot use his right foot. Literally, how many times have I seen him in the box? Now, have we seen Odegaard doing the same sometimes? Yes. Sometimes I also get mad at Odegaard for not shooting with his right foot. But sometimes he does even make a pass with his right foot. But Pepe, even a pass, he cannot make a pass with his right foot. Never. He has to turn back to his left foot. So, again, number 4, we can have a lot of reasons. In terms of being slow, we want very quick football at Arsenal. Saka, Martinelli, quick wingers. Left, right, cross, shoot, goal. That's what we need at Arsenal. Pepe one was, I used to watch Pepe. He turns to his left side. He turns to his right side, left side. I go outside. I make a phone call. I come back to the house. Pepe still has the ball going left, going right, going left, going right. We can't have that at Arsenal. We want quick football right away, score a goal right away. So there's a lot of reasons Pepe is not going to fit at Arsenal. And the last reason that actually made me mad was the season that really needed him the most. We had to depend on Saka and Smith Rowe, who are like 16, 17. And that is when I was like, nah, Pepe and Willian have really disappointed me this season. Watching from Uganda, says Nasser. I'm going to give you an update on Rice. Rice is going to be an Arsenal player. Let's see. Ramsey says, my dear friend, I don't like that guy, Kai Havertz. You don't have to like him. Now I believe Arsenal are now ready to challenge the big boys in Europe with this great signing. Well done, Mikel and Edu. Has Declan Rice medical been completed? Not yet, Dennis. Medical, I don't think it's going to be done this week, to be honest. I don't know how long he's going to be on holiday for, unless, we sent a medical guys to a wedding to do the medical for Kai Havertz and to take pictures there at someone's wedding. So anything is possible. Tiring, very tiring, but it's been a rewarding 8 months. Just hope we invest the Rice money well for next season, or we're in big trouble. I think he'll win the league next year. A good West Ham fan for once. A good West Ham fan. Tom, I'll probably get you on the video with Charlison. He's a good West Ham fan. It's these days I kind of dislike West Ham fans, but I like 2 or 3 of them, and Tom is one of them. A good West Ham fan. We need to improve the midfield, and the defense is poor, says Kennedy. That is a lie, Kennedy. Arsenal's defense is not poor. Saliba and Tomiyasu got injured, and we had to play holding, and we fell apart. We in our defense, we will now have Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White, Timber, Zinchenko, Tomia. So I don't think our defense is necessarily poor. We only consider those goals 3 goals, 4 goals, 3 goals after Saliba got injured. Before that, we were doing good. We went to Tottenham, clean sheet. We went to Chelsea, clean sheet. We played Wolves away, clean sheet. We were keeping a bunch of clean sheets. But after we got injuries, that's when things fell apart. I don't think our defense is bad unless Saliba's back injury is serious. Then you can talk about getting another defender. But who knows? Maybe you're actually going to get another defender. We are linked to Gehi from Crystal Palace, and we're also linked to Ben Johnson from West Ham. The Gunners are really serious in the market, bringing players to Emirates, says Conte. Let's keep partying, bring Milinkovic-Savic. That's a player I'd really love at Arsenal. Ibrahim Milinkovic-Savic, I really like him. Pedro Neto or Chiesa. Pedro Neto, hell no. Darlington, very good player. But Pedro Neto, he cannot play 3 games in a row. He's like the last 3 years, I think he's literally gotten injured like 20 times. And right now we already have a lot of injury, a few players that have injuries. Tomiyasu, Partey if he stays, Tierney if he stays. We can't really add another player on top of that. You know what has cost us the last couple of seasons? Injuries. Saliba, Tomiyasu, Partey, Tierney, Jesus. We cannot add another injury to the team. So Pedro Neto, very good player, but unfortunately injuries, and English football is tough. Chiesa, maybe, if he's totally recovered from his injury. How many more players are likely to buy apart from Rice, Timber, and Havertz? I'd say 3. I actually think you're going to get 6 players. 5 signings and maybe a loan deal, or maybe... I mean, we have the money. We are Arsenal. We're back to being the real Arsenal, so we have money. I'd say 6 players. Is Balogun leaving Arsenal? The American striker says Cliff. Cliff is already calling him the American striker. Interesting. I'd say pretty much. I'd say 60% he will leave. Diana says, Brother Glenn, Atita's transfer list, is there a striker name? Not yet. I mean, you haven't seen any striker yet. But in terms of that, I'd be patient. Personally, I'm not in a rush as well for a striker. As I always say, we scored 88 goals last season. I don't think we need a striker like right now. I still think we need to get midfielders fast. After we get midfielders, then we can start looking for strikers. Eddie tried, but he's not there yet. We want a prolific striker who can score 15 plus goals. I think Jesus can definitely score 15 plus goals. You know, he scored, how many did he score? Like 11, and he was injured for 4 months. So if Jesus is there for the whole season, he'll definitely score 15 plus goals. And the way our team is designed, our team has balance. We don't really depend on one player to score our goals. Martinelli is going to get 15. Odegaard is going to get 15. Trossard is going to get probably 8 to 10 if he plays the whole season. Last season, he came half of a season and still did well. Saka can get 15. And then if you get Ben White, Gabriel all scoring 2 or 3 goals here and there, Rice scoring 3 or 4 goals or something in a season. And then hopefully Fabio Vieira comes back to the top, and whichever striker that is going to remain, whether it's Balogun or Nketiah, chipping in 8 to 10 goals, I think we can still get to more than 80 goals. But if you can get a striker like that, I want a backup striker, not a 90, 100 million kind of striker right now. Is Holding staying or leaving? We haven't heard anything about him, Benjamin, apart from there's a team in Turkey that want him. So let's wait and see what happens. Edu, please move for Watkins. Aston Villa not going to give you Watkins, especially that we've refused to give them Smith Rowe and a few other players. I'd love Watkins, very good player, very good striker. That is the kind of striker I'd love at Arsenal. He would cost you like 60, 70 million though right now. He's holding that one. Let's keep Partey for at least 1 year before we start thinking of selling him, says Musa. I want to know if Arsenal will bring in a striker. Right now, we've not had anything yet, but as I always say, be patient. We are going to finish all these signings and then we'll start talking about the others. I mean, we've been really focused on that Declan Rice deal. I don't think they've even gotten time to look at other players. Let's see. Holding Pepe, Tierney out, Balogun, Partey, Xhaka stay, says Peter. Holding, that's fine. Pepe, that's fine. I'd love to keep Tierney, to be honest. Balogun, Partey, Xhaka. You know, I'd love to keep 4 of those 6 players, but the problem is I think Jacques is already done everything with Leverkusen. I think he's definitely going to go. We're just waiting to sign players. Which areas do you think we should strengthen if we eventually have this, if we get Timber? So Timber, Rice, Havertz. I still think we need another 2 midfielders. That takes us to 5 players. And then I will also need, I I really wanted a fullback, but now that we signed Timber, I can play there. I think we're okay. So I need a player who can play as a right winger and also as a striker. So 2 midfielders and a right winger. Ajax and Arsenal have reached a verbal agreement, says Hassan. Okay, now that you've said that, let me just give me 1 second. Let me just get my phone. We have to talk about it. We have to check the latest news. Let's just check the latest news. If it's actually true, I'll be really, really happy. Says Hassan. Thank you, Hassan. I've seen a couple of people saying it. Tell me, will Arsenal move for Diaby? Possibility. It's a possibility. What about Evan Toney? I mean, is he going to stop betting? That's the problem. What about Evan Toney from Brentford as a backup? Yes, but not this season, man. He's suspended until like January or February. So it's a bit late. I mean, he can still help you for the second half of the season. That is true. But I don't think it's possible. And the first piece of news I see is Man United news. Yuck. Mount is going to Man United. It's confirmed. Nketiah and Balogun, who do you wish to leave according to you? We know why that is a tough question. If they were both worth the same money, I'd probably get rid of Nketiah and keep Balogun. But since, it depends as well. Balogun, does he really want to stay? Does he really want to go? And in terms of money, if you want money, you're probably going to get more money for Balogun than Nketiah. But if they are both the same money, then I'd get rid of Nketiah. 36 million. Oh, you never, ever disrespect Edu and Atata again. If I ever see you guys doing it again, I'll be very mad. They're actually going to get Timber for 36 million. Oh, that is so amazing, man. Like, well done, man. 36 million for Timber is crazy good, man. Like, this guy should be worth like 50 million, to be honest. And well done to these two guys. To be honest. If you're able to get that kind of player for that money, awesome. So we will do a separate video on that. I'll go and check all the latest on that, but we actually have news on Timber. The deal is pretty much done. Exciting times to be an Arsenal fan. We talk about something else, and then on the same stream, another piece of news breaks out. So thank you guys for watching this live stream. If there's I might come back live. Thank you for watching, and catch up with you on the next one.